The tour guide will check your tickets when you start the tour. Okay. You're welcome.
Walking.
I'm going to say 3 years. May 26th.
We have about 160 or so, not too many. 62 or 3 down into the entrance, 63 or 4 back up on the way out. I don't anticipate anything going wrong. However, I still got to tell you this: if you have heart or breathing problems, trouble walking long distances, navigating stairs, or other health concerns, consider any limitations you may have before you join us, as evacuation from the cave for medical reasons or anything else will take several hours. We're not really going to stop it. Currently about a half mile into a cave system that stretches for 426 miles. Stretches isn't really the right word though. That makes you think it goes to like Chicago, Atlanta. It doesn't. For the most part, all 426 miles are within the boundary of the national park. Known as a saltpeter cave. It was used as a saltpeter cave. And this is a mining process, but not one that affects the walls, the ceiling. That's all natural. Everything we're seeing is natural today, but it does affect the floor.
Scary, man. I guess this is all rock they had to move out of the way.
The limestone was formed before dinosaurs. Dinosaurs were walking around on top of the limestone. The cave itself was formed after. Okay. So geologic time scale, the limestone's forming 330 million years ago, or fossils or anything like that. We have a very extensive fossil record, just no dinosaurs. Typically what we see are marine fossils from when the limestone was still forming, things like corals, crinoids, ocean-dwelling creatures, including sharks, prehistoric sharks. That's the big thing. In the past 30 years or so, we found 70 different shark species based on like their teeth in the walls. Within the past 10 years, we found 7 that are brand new to science. I not stopped talking from the moment they were picked up until they came out of the cave. When they got back to the campsite, the scoutmaster said, "We're packing up. Can you get the bus ready? We're going home." Like, they still had the rest of the week to do stuff. And so he didn't know necessarily what happened. He just kind of heard through the grapevine, everything else. So that was small world. The earliest days of cave tourism, people began leaving their mark on Mammoth Cave in one form or another. Our first cave tour was in 1816, at least officially, but we have signatures in here that date back to 1812, 1811. We even have pictographs and petroglyphs in other areas from those prehistoric people that were here. But what we see typically is stuff like this from about the 1820s to the 1880s. 1880s, it actually became a state law that you couldn't write or mark in Mammoth Cave. The process, very, very simple. If I can ask, where are y'all from? Pittsburgh. We have never had anybody from the great state of Pennsylvania before. Half a penny a rock. Half a penny a rock. You can start your own monument to Pennsylvania. What about you? So where are you from?
Kona, Hawaii.
Hawaii. That one we might not have had anybody from Hawaii yet. But we've never had anybody from Hawaii before. Half a penny a rock. I'll catch you a deal.
All right.
You can build your own monument. So the guides are making money off of letting you do this, and then letting you build a monument. Meanwhile, you're doing all the work for them. They're kind of throwing some rocks to the side. If the monument looks a little unstable, oh no, one rock missed, now you got to build it up again. This became so popular that by the turn of the century, people start bringing in pre-made signs. For tours, if you were up in Gothic Avenue, you were on what was called the short trip or the short tour. And it was pretty short, 6 to 8 hours, really short for what they were doing in the long tour. The long tour, you didn't come up to Gothic Avenue because you had other places to be. You just kind of kept trucking right by because you were going 12 miles deep in the cave.
Wow.
6 miles in, 6 miles back out. We're talking a 12-hour trip at the bare minimum. But there is still some dripping water from the top of these formations here. Well, what happens, you're 120 feet underground, a mile into the cave, and suddenly,
Wow.
right.
It's too bad.
Well, I'm thinking more of like you're walking along these rocks and you're trying to put your name on the ceiling.
A lot of different things today. We've talked about some of the early guides, what they were doing in here. We've talked about early visitors quite a bit. I've told you some of the early stories, but there is a specific reason that we're all standing or sitting here in Gothic Avenue, in Mammoth Cave, 210 years after tourism started. Tourism started here at Mammoth Cave because those saltpeter miners were digging up those prehistoric artifacts. I told you about an hour ago that one of those artifacts was something really, really incredible. Mammoth Cave was not the only saltpeter cave in the area.
Some of the tours going through the historic entrance, but some of them you have to get on a bus. We're at this little picnic area off to the side of the road, eating breakfast before we go into town. Hello. There's a little walking trail over here. There's a bunch of people out just walking around with their families and their dogs. It's not that far from town. I think it's like 15-ish minutes from Cave City, which is the closest one to us. So people probably just come out here and enjoy the nice area, especially since the weather's so nice right now. A little history about the area. Then there's a pond over here. So you can't see much because it's covered in plants. We're now in Horse City to do another cave tour. That brick building is where we're going, and there's a parking lot right down the street from it.
Missouri was so big, I guess back in.
Oh, maybe you're on it too? Oh, you guys.
Yeah, it's getting cooler.
Okay, so I'm gonna pre-warn y'all. If y'all get to a halfway point and you decide that you cannot go any further, you cannot. This is where the tours would stop. They would actually turn around and go all the way back. You wouldn't even get to see all the pretty stuff just past this bridge. dome. I love this room because you can see all the pretty little layers in it perfectly. I like to play a game with my groups on how many Corvettes do you think you can fit in Sunset? I do know the answer, so.
Corvette,
Corvettes.
2000.
They don't have eyes. These are my spoils from Hidden River. These were the three most interesting parts of the cave, and everything else was kind of lame. Little rat snake on the road. I hope he's alive. We are at Mammoth Cave Cemetery. There's a little Baptist church back here. I'm not sure if it's still in use. I would say no. Mammoth Cave Baptist Church, established 1827, meeting third Saturday in Sun. Tommy is fairly new, but Elizabeth is from the 1800s. Brooks died in 1961. It's sad that the marker broke.
Oh, okay. Wow on a headstone typically stands for the Woodmen of the World, a fraternal organization that offers monument benefits to members.
What about the MWA?
19th and early 20th century.
Although he sleeps, his memory doth live. Clearance has pieces of metal hammered into it. 1907 to 1909. This must be her parents over here. We have James McDaniel, buried separately from Delia and their daughter Mosey. They both have the mother and father markers. Bedford and Lorraine Esters. Lorraine's either still alive or she was buried somewhere else. Looks like he was in the Korean War.
Would have been like 20.
Arville Esters. And Virginia Joan Esters. Trying to find one of the hidden cemeteries. She said, we got this information yesterday, so we don't entirely remember it, but she said to go to the fire road and park, but don't block the gate. And then if you walk a little way down it, there's a path that kind of goes off to the side, and that's where it is. There's some kind of plaque up here, so we might have found it. So I guess this is the Bradsford Cemetery. They were brought here as slaves, and then after they were freed, they kept guiding cave tours and exploring in them. up until Mammoth Cave became an official national park.
Oh, let's solve the guides.
Looks like most of them have rock headstones instead of something carved in them. Unless, no, it doesn't look like they say anything. Alice G. Bransford, March 21st, 1843 to March 20th, 1923. And then this is Henry, February 15th, 1845 to July 17th, 1894. Those are the only two marked ones. The rest just have the rocks.
It's me. I'm taking over the vlog. I don't know where she went, but I'm in charge of the vlog now. So, just so you know, this is a hostile takeover. Okay, bye. Okay, she's still not back. So, tonight when we do the lantern tour, I'm gonna blow out her lantern and leave her in the cave forever. So, don't tell anybody. But that's my plan on the lantern tour, is I'm abandoning her in the cave forever. Okay, bye.
Hello.
Hello.
You want to tell us about our day?
You want to tell us about our day?
Yeah. You want to tell the people about our day?
So this morning we got up and we went to the Gothic Avenue tour.
What'd you think of the tour? Did you like it?
I was expecting more like stalactites and stalagmites like Luray Caverns, but this is a dry cave, so they don't really have a lot of formations inside, and a lot of it looks like it's been blasted away at, but it's something that like fell naturally, like the roof collapsed over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like if you like history, it's a really good tour. I will say a lot of the history is pretty sad. Like it was, one part you go through and he's basically saying how enslaved people were used there to mine like a shale the salt that helps make gunpowder. And he was like, yeah, they were fighting for freedom, but it wasn't their freedom. And then another part, he's telling you about a woman from like 2,000 years ago who they found in the cave, and basically like they took her on a giant world tour and tourists like ripped her apart for souvenirs. And now she's not really preserved anymore. And so if you're
She's
like,
just a skeleton in the Smithsonian now.
yeah, definitely a lot. And I mean, that is histories. A lot of it is not that great. But if you like history and you like hearing about that kind of stuff, this will be your tour. If you're more into like geology and like rocks, it's probably not the tour for you.
The domes and dripstones, I think, is more of what I was expecting.
Yeah, I think that one goes more into like the rocks. Whereas this one, like, and it was cool. There was like a lot of graffiti from like 1830s, 1820s, like stuff like that of, like the early tourists that came there. So that part was cool. But yeah, definitely history based.
And then we went to this other cavern called Lost River because there are 6 other cave systems in the area. And I love caverns. But we didn't really look into them too much. We saw this one had a suspension bridge, so we were like, oh, we'll go see that one. That's kind of cool. I think that's probably the worst cave system I've been in, personally.
I wasn't that impressed with it. And I don't know if it's because it's more like, trying to think of like a way to say it. It's kind of like a backyard, like tourist attraction, sort of. Like, someone just built their tourism around this cave, but they're focused more on getting people in versus like preservation of the cave or, like educating really. And, our tour guide, she was very nice. But it was a lot of just like, hey, look at this rock. look at that rock. Moving on. And not a whole lot else.
She was a high schooler who had only worked there for a month, so it's like she knew the script a little bit, but if you asked her something off script, like how the Sunset Dome was created, she'd be like, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, there was one point where she was like, now, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure stalagmites are the ones that come down. And I was standing there thinking, aren't you the tour guide? Like, isn't that like the basic tour information is like which one is which? But she was real nice. She was very sweet. I think she just needs more experience. And again, I'm like, there's only so much they can do in that cave because like the cave itself was not that
really
impressive.
short.
Yeah, I will say the bridge was fun. You know, you walk down and you can like kind of bounce and stuff. But if you're in the back of the tour, you're not really gonna be able to hear her, or I think the tour guides in general, because there's not a lot of like gathering area. So if you want to like hear more of the tour, I would stay near the front for that one. You can bring your pets. I don't know why you'd want to bring your dog into a cave, but someone did on our tour. So if you have like a little dog you want to bring, I guess you can take it into the cave.
And we have one more tour today, which we need to start getting ready for. It is the Star Chamber tour, where you take a lantern and walk around like it's the 1800s.
Woo! So we're excited for that, and I guess we'll be back when that one's done, and we'll let you know what we think. Okay, bye!
You don't say bye in between shots.
Why not?
This is Shelter B. It looks like Shelter A, except this is the one where all of the bus tours depart, and it's on the other side of the little street area here. These are the offerings. Have the lantern. Have our lantern.
Lights on, right? And this is a totally different experience. This is how people experience before electric lights were in the cave. And you know, when I first started working here. There? Yeah, we're doing fine. Okay, you're good. You're good. Well, welcome to Gothic. For the longest time, I would come up here by myself. He's got a series, journals, pictures, all kind of cool stuff. Stereotype cave, but you come to Mammoth Cave, you ain't seen one stalactite. We're going to see a few coming up. You got to have water. And Mammoth Cave, the geology, we have some cap rock overlaying the limestone. It acts like a roof. I will stop somewhere and I'm going to let you listen to some water. But you
Yeah, it's like, almost like 100 or something.
You know, there's been a lot of talk about uses of the cave. You know, in the last 200 years, you know, it's been guided tours. That's been the workhorse. Of course, saltpeter and, you know, they had dances and church services. The cave that they did with the LiDAR, this is covered the LiDAR. For the long tour, they bring like baskets of fried chicken and all kind of goodies and wine and booze, and they would break their bottles. They would throw bottles, doing our job and there's broken wine glass all over the place. Time his lantern and his flickering, and he starts to make his way back, and it goes completely out, gone. Now he did exactly what the guide would tell you to do. This happened many times. We got a group, and how many seen these side passages? Oh, I want to go down that, so I'll just go. People did that all the time. You see that in historical terms. So their little safety brief was, if you got separated from the tour, sit down and wait. The guide would come find you. Because the guides would stop periodically and do it, and they'd go, oh, where's Charles at? Oh, my goodness. So Charles was down there in total darkness for 39 hours before they found him. Yep, and they found him. As the story goes, you get 2 rocks and you just clap them. That's not. Down there, you see there's a trail. That's what the trails look like. And they did go down places like that. Not all. Sickly looking, coughing. And you got, this was in the winter time, so the airflow was reverse flow. It's coming in. And so. Look up in the window. Do you see any stars twinkling? I don't know. It was kind of cloudy. There's a chance of rain. You can't see anything. Some of these lights are kind of blasting you. Look at the top there. What you're going to be looking for is a shadow, okay? I want sound effects. Are you ready? See the lid coming up? Going down. Actually, you guys stay right there. I'm going to go over here. See the lid going up? All right, someone say it. I can do this all night long. There's the cat. Which way is she flying? There had to be dirt. Do you see the dirt, the discoloration? So that dirt bank was right about here. So whoever drew it looks very similar to this, but it was done with charcoal.
So the tic-tac-toe kind of stuff.
What's that?
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
here?
this thing right here. You see it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the tic-tac-toe.
Yeah. It's not tic-tac-toe.
I know, but it looks like it.
His brother-in-law was the proprietor of the Mammoth Cave Hotel and the Mammoth Cave manager during the Civil War.
He's so cute. I love him. There's some little toads. Ugh, right back at the lodge. And we're in a new location. We're really tired after the tour, so we just went to bed. But it was a fun tour.
I did like the tour a lot. They give you lanterns, and so that's the only light they have.
Which is why we picked that tour.
We did go to some of the same areas we went to in the Gothic tour, but then we also did go to some new areas of the cave, so we were a little worried that we were getting the same tour just with less light, but we did get a very different tour than the first one today.
If I was picking tours though, I would probably have done the Frozen Niagara or Domes and Dripstones, and then one of the lantern tours. Violet City is apparently another good one, but the Onyx Lantern tour or whatever it's called wasn't available when we did it.
And why would you do those ones?
Because I like the pretty rocks.
Yeah. This one again was very history based, but I think that's the majority of their caves, because again, they're dry. It's dry caves, so they don't have any big features. This one, again, we went to the Gothic parts, but then we also went to a section called, what was it, the giant
Star
coffin?
Chamber?
The Star Chamber, which it did look like stars in the ceiling because of the way the rocks were made, and like the chimney smoke or the smoke from the lanterns and stuff from years and years of touring. And then we also saw what's called the water clock, which is this water dripping feature. And those were kind of like the newer parts of the tour that we went on. What do you think of the lanterns?
I love the lanterns. I want one.
Yeah, they were really cool. They were, what was it, kerosene?
Some fancy type of kerosene.
I think you said it was like paraffin or something like that. So it burned like a little bit cleaner than the kerosene. My one complaint on the tour is some of the other people on the tour were very annoying, and they were a bit rude and disrespectful. Like there's one part where you kind of all sit in darkness and some of them just would not shut up and stop talking, so you couldn't get the full effect of sitting in the dark, just hearing nothing from the cave. So that'd be my only complaint, is the people on the tour. Do you have any dislikes about that tour?
I don't think so.
I'd do it again. I do.
There are other tours.
Well, I mean, if I had to do that one again, I would do it again.
Did you see all the animals you were hoping to see?
I saw most of the ones I wanted to see, because we saw bats in the cave on our second tour, There were some frogs around our room when we went back, and then we did see a snake on the road, which is pretty cool. The only thing we didn't see were the salamanders, which I was very sad about, even though we went to 3 different caves. So no salamanders, but we did see bats. So did you like the bats?
I did like the bats.
Yeah.
Because he said he was like, oh, you're gonna see a lot of them when we leave. And then as we were walking out, he was like, oh, no bats tonight. But there was like this little tiny puffball up on the ceiling. And I was like, oh, a bat. And then there was another bat. And then there was a third bat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were a couple little guys. They were just little guys hanging out, just chilling. Everyone else was out getting bugs and stuff, but they were taking a little nap in the cave, it looked like. But yeah, so that was the lantern tour. Had a lot of fun there. And that's that for Mammoth Cave.
I enjoyed it. I would go back. I want to go to all the other caves in the area, even though I think I'll be disappointed in them.
How would you rate Mammoth Cave?
In relation to what?
Just out of 10 for national parks.
Probably 10.
Yeah, I'd say Mammoth Cave, 10 out of 10. I'd go back. I think we had a lot of fun there, so.
It seems very repeatable because even if you do the same tours, you'll probably have a different guide and they'll tell you different things. Like our guide for the second tour was an archaeologist, so some of the things he told us, the guide from the first one didn't.
He did also have some very new information about some of the stuff on the tour, which was cool, because he literally just discovered this information like 2 weeks ago. So he was super into like the history of the cave and the people that traveled in the cave in the past, like some of the signatures on the ceiling and things. So he had a lot of like extra information about like specific families and stuff that was really cool.
And we'll be heading to Gatlinburg tomorrow for the Smokies. Not excited to drive, but excited to go somewhere new, except it's not new for me.
It's new for me. I briefly went here, but we got more exploring to do.
I don't think we ever went to the park when we came here, though.
No, I don't think so. I think we were just in Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. So yeah, we'll have some more exploring to do.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye!